Well, for our last video, we're going to look at a couple different things that you can do with AI art in a teaching setting or in a homeschool setting. One is just to come up with maybe some model artwork that you can practice from. So let's say you wanted to do a little watercolor, and let's make it a landscape setting. And let's say simple watercolor sunset with pine trees. Let's see what we get. And I've got it set for 4 images, so we're going to get 4 different possibilities. And I've got the seed set to randomize, so the possibilities should change from image to image rather than just being variations on an identical image. Now, I, as a watercolorist, if I'm looking for ideas or just things that I might want to try out, here's a real basic watercolor. Now, I don't like the little check marks here because I can't get rid of that until the next image generates. But that one is a real nice, simple watercolor that you could do in a homeschool setting. Let's see what else we get. Okay, so there it is without the check mark on it. Okay, here's a little different variation on that sunset, and the trees are a little bit varied. Let's see what we're getting next here. Okay, that might actually function very well for a younger child. Here we actually got a little bit of a feel of a reflection in a lake because the trees are upside down. Okay, and that one's a little bit more advanced. Notice how it even has the feel of the watercolor paper there and some of the granulization. Okay, if you wanted to make that a little bit more complex, detailed watercolor sunset with pine trees. Let's see what we come up with there. And a lot of times, even though I'm setting it for multiple images, if I'm not getting a lot of variety, then I will stop the process. And not really getting a lot of variety. Sometimes these get stuck on just doing things a certain way, and so you have to, again, shuffle your seed, or sometimes just start from scratch with a totally new prompt to get what you're looking for. Also, again, I'm using really simple prompts, and that's why we're getting really simple results. A very complicated prompt would give me much different results. Okay, so this one's looking a little bit better. Let's see what we get coming up here. But basically what I want to show you is how it will come up with different ideas that you can tweak or work with or use. Okay, now I kind of like that one. Yeah, I like that one. I like the colors. Now the biggest challenge here is you've got yellow hitting blue, which in real watercolors is not going to come out well, because if you're using wet on wet, that's going to turn green, and you don't really want a green sky unless you're doing the northern lights, which these are not the northern lights. Now that one's a little bit more complex, and I like that one a lot. I like the feel of the trees. They look a little bit more advanced. So it just gives you an idea of what can be done. How about black and white sketch? How about charcoal drawing of a majestic mountain. And I'm going to change the orientation here. Let's make it portrait. So the width is going to be 512 and the height is going to be 768. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we're getting a drawing of a mountain that's very stylized. This almost looks like an illustration style rather than a realistic style. Now, we'll see what the rest of these are, and then I'll show you how maybe to tweak that. See what this one comes out. Okay, this one is looking a bit more realistic, at least in the background here, although it's still very much a stylized and illustration style. If you look at the mountains over here, yeah, it's very simple detail was the word I was looking for. Okay, we're coming up here, and again, very stylized. Okay, got one more. See what we get. And okay, again, pretty basic. Let's see if we can improve that a little bit. Again, it doesn't always work. So as you'll see, the AI kind of has its own mind of what it wants to do, and you just have to try to work with it. And the more specific you can get, the better your results are going to be. But you have to play with the wording and try to come up with and to tell it exactly what you want. So I'm going to put majestic snow-capped mountain, and then I'm going to add hyper realistic and see if it will give us a more realistic looking mountain. And you never know. It's always a surprise what's going to come up. So you just play with it and you adjust. And the nice thing is you can generate more images, and especially if you're using one of the free services or if you're operating on your own system. Okay, I'm not seeing a great improvement there. I'm seeing a little different look, but if you are operating like I am on your own computer system, then you can generate as many images as you want to. If you are limited to using an online service, then again, a service such as Playground AI that is pretty much free unless you generate a ton of images, you're going to be able to do pretty much whatever you want to. Okay, so this is a bit more realistic. Still, in my opinion, still pretty stylized. I'm going to change one word here after this fourth one, and then we'll see what it does. But I'm going to turn it down to just one image because I want to move on to something else. So I don't want to wait for it to create four. Okay, so it still looks very much like a drawing. I'm going to put this down to 1. I'm going to change hyper-realistic to photo-realistic. And let's see what we got. And no, not exactly photorealistic, but that's what you get with AI. Again, sometimes you just have to keep playing with it until you get the results you want. A couple other things quickly that you can do. How about coloring page? Coloring page in white. And how about butterfly on a flower? Let's see what we get. Just going to do one image here. Okay, so it's giving me two butterflies. That's because of the orientation. If I just did a square page, I would only get one. And no flower. But got a nice coloring page here for a butterfly, and the butterflies actually anatomically look pretty correct, which is often unusual with AI. It gets, as I've said, quite creative at times. So you have to be prepared for that. What about something like a coloring page? About geometric pattern? Mandala? See what happens. It's thinking. Okay, I'm not seeing a lot of contrast. I forgot to put in black and white. So let's see what happens. Oh, okay. That actually looks more like a maze than a mandala. But if you have somebody who's really into very complex coloring pages, you could probably have some fun with that. Let's just tweak that for a second. Let me add after mandala. Now let me put it up here. Flower, geometric pattern, flowers. Let's see if we can turn that into flowers. And again, I forgot to type in black and white, but so far it seems to be working. And this is going to be our last one. Okay, well, not exactly what I would call flowers, but the patterns are a little bit more organized around a flowery type thing, just for fun, because I said it would be the last one. But I want to play one more time. Let's call this a maze and see what happens. It's coming. Almost there. Okay, and of course I don't know that it's a maze that you could actually get through, but it's pretty cool. How about one last one? Celtic. I promise this is the last one. That's the fun with AI art. Once you start playing with it, then you can just keep playing and trying different things until you get what you want. And sometimes it takes a while. Last one. Really. And there it is. And I don't know that that's a Celtic pattern. It's kind of approaching it at certain points. You could tweak it and work with it and eventually get there. But this was just to give you an idea of some of the things that you can do with AI art in a homeschool setting. I hope at least it gives you an idea, and I hope you'll give it a try. And you may find that you really enjoy working with it, and I think it opens up a lot of vistas of creativity. So I will eventually come back with some other videos that are a little bit more focused, but this was just to give you a view of the landscape, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was helpful. But that's all for this, and I will be back next week with something else. But for now, I'm Jim Pence with Homeschool Art Class. Come visit us at homeschoolartclass.com and check out our art class videos. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.